What's up, guys? Nothing is more intriguing for sports fans than when a scout, analyst, or draft expert compares an exciting young player to a legendary athlete. Sometimes there's no doubt how great a player will be. LeBron James, Peyton Manning, and Sidney Crosby were sure things to succeed. Comparisons weren't required for them. But some other can't-miss generational prospects were given comparisons to some all-time greats. The only problem? Well, these guys didn't come anywhere close to performing like their comparisons. Not only that, but most of them were out of their respective leagues in short time. I'm Jason Biondo, and today we present the 10 worst draft comparisons of all time. Don't forget to leave your video ideas down below. We'll be looking, and if we choose your idea, we'll give you a shout out in the video. Make sure to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications because we post videos all the time. New content all the time, sports content, so if you want more of it, subscribe. And a big shout out to Bigger Mike for suggesting this video. Are you related to Mike Cantalupo Mike? You're just a bigger version of him? Number 10, Alexandre Daigle to Pat LaFontaine. The Ottawa Senators drafted Daigle with the first overall pick in the '93 draft, ahead of future Hall of Fame defenseman Chris Pronger. Daigle was widely considered a sure thing to succeed in the NHL. The young Ottawa franchise had its new superstar to build around. Party time in Canada's capital. Daigle was considered such an elite prospect that some accused the Sens of tanking on purpose. At any rate, he was theirs. Fair or not. According to Sportsnet in Canada, Daigle was being compared to multiple future Hall of Famers, including Buffalo Sabres star Pat LaFontaine. You know, the man who potted 468 career goals and 1,013 points en route to a Hall of Fame induction. Daigle had a pair of 20-goal, 50-point seasons in Ottawa, but otherwise, he didn't come anywhere close to becoming the franchise-changing star they had hoped for. He played 616 NHL games and had just 129 goals and 327 points, last playing for the Minnesota Wild in the 2005-06 season. Number 9, Tyson Chandler to Kevin Garnett. Veteran NBA center Tyson Chandler had enjoyed a solid professional career. He was an All-Star in 2013, the 2012 Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, and he helped the Dallas Mavericks win the NBA championship in 2011. Chandler, whom the Los Angeles Clippers drafted second overall in 2001, cannot be considered a bust. But still, comparing him to one of the greatest big men of all time was quite a stretch. According to former NBA head coach Brian Scott, Chandler was drawing comparisons to Kevin Garnett. Here's what he had to say. Most people, when they looked at Tyson, wanted him to be the next Kevin Garnett, because when he was in high school, he was a 7-footer who could make the jump shot. Garnett is quite possibly a top 20 all-time player, whereas Chandler isn't exactly a Hall of Famer. Garnett won the 2004 NBA MVP award. He was a 15-time All-Star and won the 2008 NBA championship with the Boston Celtics. KG also averaged 17.8 points and 10 rebounds per game in his career. And he was named to the All-NBA First Team 4 times. And he was named to the NBA All-Defensive First Team 9 times. And he was the 2008 Defensive Player of the Year. And he's a Hall of Famer. Nothing against Chandler at all. Again, he's been a very solid player. But do you see why the comparisons to Garnett were kind of way off here? Number 8, Nail Yakupov to Alexandre Mogilny. The 2012 NHL Draft will go down as one of the worst in NHL history. Many of us knew at the time that there wouldn't be many superstars to emerge from the 2012 class. But Nail Yakupov, the flashy Russian forward whom the Edmonton Oilers drafted first overall, was expected to be something special. During their draft coverage, TSN listed Russian hockey legend Alexandre Mogilny as a comparable to Yakupov. Mogilny was one of the NHL's elite goal scorers in the 90s. He scored 76 times for the Buffalo Sabres in the 92-93 season. Mogilny hit the 100-point mark twice, and he registered 8 30-goal seasons throughout his career. All told, Mogilny had 473 goals and 1,032 points during his playing career, winning a Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils in 2000. As for Yakupov, instead of becoming the next great Russian superstar, he became one of the worst first overall picks in the history of professional sports. He never topped 17 goals or 33 points in a season. He clashed with his coaches and lasted just 4 years in Edmonton. Stops with the Colorado Avalanche and St. Louis Blues didn't change things. Yakupov was out of the NHL after the 2017-18 season, finishing with just 62 goals and 136 points. He would sign with the SKA St. Petersburg of the KHL. Number 7, Angelo Esposito to Guy Lafleur. Before he was even drafted into the NHL, Quebec kid Angelo Esposito was being compared to a Montreal Canadiens legend, Guy Lafleur. Esposito played junior hockey for the Quebec Remparts of the QMJHL, the same team that Lafleur had played for nearly 40 years ago. Both Lafleur and Esposito put up remarkable numbers with this team, but it was quite a stretch to compare the two. After all, Lafleur led the Canadiens to 5 Stanley Cup championships. He won 3 scoring titles and 2 Hart trophies, given annually to the league MVP. He finished with 560 career goals and 1,350 1,053 points. He's Montreal's all-time points leader with 1,246, and Lafleur is in the Hall of Fame. Esposito was drafted 20th overall by the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2007. He was traded to the Atlanta Thrashers a year later. Esposito later joined the Florida Panthers and Dallas Stars, but he wound up never playing a single game in the NHL. He went to play overseas in different leagues across Europe instead. Esposito has since retired from hockey. Number 6. JaMarcus Russell to John Elway. The Oakland Raiders drafted LSU quarterback JaMarcus Russell with the first overall pick in the 2007 draft. Blessed with tremendous size at 6'6", 265 pounds, Russell had a wonderful skill set and had all the makings to be a franchise-changing player for Oakland. Well-known NFL draft expert and analyst Mel Kittner loved the Raiders' decision to take Russell first overall. He had the following to say about their new quarterback. "The skill level he has is certainly John Elway-like. Russell only played one game in his rookie season, and he only lasted 3 years in the NFL. In just 31 games played, Russell completed 52.1% of his passes for 18 touchdowns against 23 interceptions. He posted a woeful record of 7-18 as well." The Raiders released Russell in the 2010 season, and he never made it back to the NFL. Elway, by the way, was a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos. He won the 1987 NFL MVP award and earned 9 Pro Bowl selections. The Pro Football Hall of Famer also finished with 282 more touchdown passes than Russell. About that whole Russell-Elway comparison, yeah, not looking too good. Number 5. Darko Milicic to Dirk Nowitzki. Serbian center Darko Milicic was part of the legendary 2003 NBA draft class that featured LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Bosh. Those 4 men rounded out the top 4 picks. 2 of them won multiple NBA championships. 3 of them were perennial All-Stars who've enjoyed Hall of Fame careers. Milicic was taken 2nd overall by the Detroit Pistons. He never wound up being a superstar they had hoped for. He drew comparisons to Dallas Mavericks All-Star big man Dirk Nowitzki. They had similar styles of play and both stood at 7 feet tall. Milicic weighed in at 250 pounds, Nowitzki at 245. In a 2003 interview with ESPN, Milicic compared himself to Kevin Garnett as well. Nowitzki was a 14-time All-Star, 2007 League MVP, and 2011 NBA champion with the Mavericks. He's arguably the greatest European NBA player of all time. See you in the Hall of Fame, Dirk. Milicic bounced around from team to team throughout his career. He finished with career averages of 6 points and 4.2 rebounds per game. On the bright side, he was part of the 2003-04 Pistons NBA championship team. Other than that, his career in the NBA was a massive disappointment. Number 4. David Clyde to Sandy Koufax. Los Angeles Dodgers legend Sandy Koufax is considered by some to be the greatest and most dominant pitcher of all time. This is a man who had to retire at the age of 30 due to injuries. And yet he accomplished the following: 4 World Series rings, 3 Cy Young Awards, 1 perfect game, 2.76 career earned runs average, 2,396 strikeouts, 1963 NL MVP award. We can go on and on about his Hall of Fame career, but you get the point. There simply wasn't a pitcher who was more dominant in his prime than Koufax during his 12-year career, and we haven't seen somebody like him ever since. That didn't stop scouts from comparing David Clyde to Koufax. The former was drafted 1st overall by the Texas Rangers in the 1973 MLB draft. He was a lights-out machine at Westchester High School in Houston. MLB scouts were all over Clyde, comparing him to Koufax, others calling him the best pitching prospect they ever witnessed. But Clyde didn't come anywhere close to living up to all those expectations. He lasted just 5 seasons in the majors, 3 for Texas and 2 for the Cleveland Indians. He recorded 18 wins against 33 losses with a poor ERA of 4.63. He had a whopping 180 walks against just 288 strikeouts. Not exactly Koufax-like numbers. Number 3. Andre Wadsworth to Bruce Smith. Buffalo Bills legend Bruce Smith is the all-time career sacks leader with 200. He was also an 11-time Pro Bowler, 8-time first-team All-Pro, as well as a 1990 and 96 NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, and Smith led the Bills to 4 straight Super Bowl appearances in the 90s. And he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. At the 1998 draft, they ranked the Florida State product Andre Wadsworth as the best player in the class. Not only that, but Kipper had this to say about Smith: "I compare Andre Wadsworth to Bruce Smith in terms of natural instincts and athleticism getting after the quarterback." The Arizona Cardinals drafted Wadsworth 3rd overall, behind Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. Comparing Wadsworth to Smith was a big-time stretch in itself. But Wadsworth never came close to living up to expectations, due in large part to a nagging knee injury. He lasted just 3 seasons in the NFL and had 8 sacks. Wadsworth attempted a comeback with the New York Jets in 2007, but he was released before the season started. So much for that comparison to Smith. Wadsworth was only like 190 92 sacks away from tying the Hall of Famer. So close. Number 2, Eddie Curry to Shaquille O'Neal. The 7-foot center didn't play college basketball. He was a star at Thornwood High School. Curry was drafted out of high school by the Chicago Bulls with the number 4 pick in the 2001 draft. Curry, only an inch shorter and 30 pounds lighter than Shaquille O'Neal, was drawing comparisons to the Los Angeles Lakers star. In fact, Curry was given the nickname Baby Shaq. They played the same position and were nearly identical in size. Unfortunately, Curry had to miss some time in 2004 and 5 as he dealt with an irregular heartbeat. He was traded to the New York Knicks after just 4 seasons with the Bulls, but Curry wasn't able to reach his full potential there, causing frustration among his coaches. Curry also showed up out of shape at one point, and the team cut ties with him after the 2009-10 season. Curry had brief stops with the Mavericks and Miami Heat, winning the championship with LeBron James and co in 2012. He averaged 12.9 points and 5.2 rebounds in his career. Shaq, meanwhile, is in the Hall of Fame, with 4 NBA championship rings, 3 Finals MVP awards, and 15 All-Star Game selections. So yeah, Curry and O'Neal comparisons were kinda way off. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers to Kyle Boller and Joey Harrington. The San Francisco 49ers drafted Alex Smith with the first overall pick in 2005, but it was actually Aaron Rodgers, whom the Green Bay Packers took 24th overall, that wound up being the best player of this class. Many scouts, of course, weren't high on Rodgers. Some compared him to Trent Dilfer and Kyle Boller. Obviously, the 49ers thought the world of Smith, and they obviously weren't so high on Rodgers. But one AFC scout had a pretty memorable take on Rodgers, comparing him to both Boller and Detroit Lions draft bust Joey Harrington. I don't like him. He's a clone of Harrington and Boller. They all throw the same way. What have those guys done? Nothing. If you take him in the 2nd round, fine. Heady guy. They do a marvelous job of coaching quarterbacks there. I don't think he's as good as the top quarterbacks coming out last year. It's funny. Boller went 20-27 as a starter in the NFL. He had 48 touchdowns against 54 interceptions. Harrington, the number 3 pick in the 2002 draft, had 79 career touchdowns against 85 interceptions. He was out of the NFL after the 2009 season. Rodgers has gone on to become one of the most decorated and talented quarterbacks of all time. He set countless records and won the 2011 and 14 NFL MVP award, leading the Packers to a Super Bowl 45 championship. Are we sure he's a lot like Boller and Harrington? Because Rodgers has made a case for being among the greatest of all time. What other terrible draft comparisons should we have included on our list? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos also all the time. So if you want more of me and not just want to see me read these lists and want to see me do fun things, subscribe. Subscribe to TPS because we post videos all the time, sports content. Why would you not want that? Make sure to like this video if you liked it. It takes one click right down there. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.